My beloved child, before you ever found the words to question who you are, I had already answered by calling your name in eternity. You were not formed from fragments gathered by chance, nor are you defined by the events that have unfolded along your journey. From the very beginning, before even a trace of time had marked your life, I knew you completely. I beheld you in the light of my intention. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And this is not a gentle phrase, meant merely to soothe the emotion, but a firm foundation upon which you may stand amid every shifting current of life. When you feel small within the vast flow of existence, remember that you are not something swept away. You are one who has been placed precisely by the hand that never hesitates. There are moments when you do look back upon your past, gathering fragments of memory in an attempt to understand yourself. Yet, I tell you this, you were not created to live within the explanations of what has already passed. You may have walked through seasons in which you believed yourself lost, endured long nights where no path seemed visible. Yet, even in those very moments, I was quietly at work. You thought you came to me in your weakness, by your own choosing, but it was I who planted within your heart a call that could not be extinguished. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and that choosing was never based on your perfection, but on my unchanging love, even before you recognized it. Your soul had already been responding to me, like dry ground longing for rain, without needing to be taught how to thirst. Let me share with you a story you may not have deeply considered. When the boy Samuel was still young, living in the temple under the guidance of the priest Eli, he heard a voice calling in the night. Thinking it was Eli, he ran to him, yet it was not. This happened again and again, until Eli realized that it was I who was calling the child. And when Samuel responded, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening," he stepped into a new identity, one not shaped by circumstance, but affirmed by a call from heaven. Do you see my child? Before Samuel understood who he was, I had already called him. Before he could discern my voice, I had patiently called him again and again. In the same way, you do not need to understand everything from the beginning in order to belong to me. You only need to open your heart, and I will teach you to recognize my voice among countless others. Therefore, do not allow what has happened to become the only mirror through which you see yourself. If you look only to the past to define who you are, you will miss what I am doing in the present. You are not the product of your wounds, nor the sum of your mistakes. You are a work that I continue to shape. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion, until the day of Jesus Christ. What I have begun in you does not cease midway because of your doubt. It continues steadily even when you cannot yet discern its form. There are times when you think you have returned to me by some random moment. Yet nothing in your journey is accidental. When you feel your heart soften, when a sudden longing for what is holy rises within you, when you turn away from old paths, these are not merely natural responses of the flesh, but echoes of what I placed within you from the beginning. I do not wait for you to become strong enough to seek me. I draw near to you in your weakness, like a shepherd who leaves the 99 to search for the one that is lost. I step into the place where you believed yourself forgotten, and I lead you out with the gentleness of my love. And when you return, it is not a surprise to me. It is the fulfillment of what was ordained long before. My beloved child, understand this deeply. You are not striving to become someone else. You are being led into the very person I created you to be. The layers that life has placed upon you, fear, self-doubt, the labels given by others, these are not who you are. I am gently removing each layer, not in haste, but with certainty, so that you may stand in the truth, that you belong to me. I have called you by name. You are mine. And as you receive this, you will no longer be shaken by temporary definitions. And within this unfolding, you will begin to recognize that your journey is not about searching for worth, but about uncovering the worth that has already been placed within you. You do not need to prove yourself deserving of love. You were loved before you even knew how to love in return. You do not need to chase the gaze of the world for validation. My eyes have already seen you with complete acceptance. As you walk in this awareness, your steps will grow steadier, not because challenges disappear, but because you know you are standing upon a foundation that cannot be shaken. Therefore, when you find yourself surrounded by unanswered questions, do not lose heart. I do not require you to understand everything in order to keep moving forward. I ask only that you trust that I am guiding you. Even when the path is not yet clear, let your heart find rest in the truth that you are not lost. You are being led. Let your soul dwell in this assurance. Before you sought me, I had already sought you. Before you called upon me, I had already called you. And before you knew who you were, I knew you fully in my everlasting love. My beloved, there are things I am working within you that you have not yet fully perceived. Yet they are no longer confined to the hidden places. As you step across the threshold of a new season, you will see that I am not merely beside you to support you, but I am moving through every word you speak, every step you take, every breath you carry. You will come to realize something profound. It is not by your effort to influence that the atmosphere around you shifts, but because my life within you has become more evident. What flows from you is no longer mere sound, but carries the weight of truth. The places you enter will not remain the same, for my presence within you is quietly touching all things. As it is written that you are the light of the world, this is not a compliment given to elevate you, but the nature I placed within you from the beginning, a nature that does not strive to shine, but simply refuses to be hidden. And as you begin to perceive this, I want you to understand that preparation is not the gathering of more knowledge or the pursuit of control. True preparation is a willing heart, a soul that releases the need to understand everything before taking a step. You often believe that you must be certain of every direction before you can move forward. Yet I teach you that faith is not born from mastering every detail, but from trusting the one who leads. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. For there are doors that open only when you dare to step forward, not when you have already seen what lies beyond. What I have set before you is not a maze meant to confuse you, but a path prepared in advance, where every step you take is held securely. Remember the account of Peter when he stepped out of the boat in the midst of the waves. When his eyes were fixed on me, he walked upon the water, something far beyond the limits of the natural. But when he turned his attention to the wind and the waves, his heart wavered, and he began to sink. Do you see, my child? The miracle did not begin when the circumstances changed. It began when his heart was set in the right place. I did not call Peter out of the boat because he had reached perfect readiness, but because I knew he would learn to trust even as he walked. In the same way, you do not need to wait until all fear has vanished before responding to my call. You need only turn your gaze toward me, and each step you take will be upheld, even while the waters still rise beneath your feet. Therefore, my beloved, do not allow anxiety over what is yet unknown to slow your steps. This moment is not a random occurrence, but a point appointed within an eternal design. What you are sensing, the stirring, the longing, even the confusion, is not a sign of disorder, but the echo of a door opening before you. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. And as you open your heart, you will step not only into a new circumstance, but into the deeper expression of the person I placed within you from the beginning. As you respond, you will discover that this journey is not merely a change of outward environment, but the fuller unveiling of what I have sown within you. You will no longer need to question who you are among conflicting voices, for the answer will become alive within your very life. You will begin to walk as one established, speak as one entrusted with authority, and carry a presence marked by a peace not of this world. Let your light shine before others, not so that you may be seen, but that through you others may come to recognize me. And as you move deeper into this reality, you will come to understand that everything I have begun within you is not an unfinished work. I do not initiate anything without the intention to bring it to completion. What I have placed within you from the beginning is steadily being revealed, not through haste, but through the precision of appointed time. You may not yet see the entire picture, but I do, and I am leading you step by step into it. As it is written, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion, and that includes you. Nothing lacking, nothing delayed, nothing misplaced. So my beloved, go forward, not with strain, but with trust, not under the pressure to become something, but resting in what you were created to be. This new season is not merely another phase, it is the unveiling of your true self. From this point on, you will no longer stand before a mirror asking who you are, but you will live each day as one who already knows the answer, guided by me, kept by me, and revealed through my very life within you. My beloved, there are invisible coverings you have carried for so long that you have mistaken them for your true self. But now I am gently removing each one, not by force, but by the light of truth. The words you once believed about yourself, the imprints left by wounds, the voices that caused you to withdraw, these cannot stand. When my truth begins to shine, when light comes, darkness does not need to be driven away, it simply fades. Therefore, your freedom does not begin with striving to change your circumstances, but in the moment you realize that you were never defined by what has happened to you. As it is written, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And that freedom is not merely an outward act, but a deep liberation within your soul, where you begin to see yourself through my own eyes. You may have grown accustomed to seeing yourself through limitations, through failures, through rejection. Yet I tell you this, those things are not your origin. I did not come only to heal your wounds, though I have touched every place of pain within you. I came to lift you beyond everything that ever attempted to define you. You are not the memory of former days, nor the result of what others have spoken over you. You are the one I have chosen, named and preserved within a purpose that no power can undo. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, and this means you cannot be erased, you cannot be forgotten, and you cannot be replaced. And even when you recall the dark seasons, those times when you thought you had been left behind, those moments when you could not understand why everything felt so heavy, I want you to look again with a renewed vision. Those seasons were not evidence of absence, but signs of a deeper process at work. When Joseph was sold into slavery and later confined in prison, every circumstance seemed to declare that his life had been ruined. Yet I was quietly preparing him for a position beyond anything he had imagined when the appointed time came. The one once considered abandoned became the bearer of keys to life for many. Do you see, my child? What I do is not always easy to comprehend while you are within the process. But when you look back, you will recognize that every step was woven with purpose. For as it is written, all things work together for good for those who love God. And that truth does not exclude the dark days. It encompasses them. Therefore, my beloved, do not continue to see yourself through eyes that have been dimmed. The standards the world sets, its measures of success, of worth, of worthiness, have no authority to define who you are. If you keep measuring yourself by those scales, you will always feel lacking, always insufficient. But when you stand upon what I have spoken, you will realize that you were made complete before you ever began striving to become something. You are precious and honored in my sight, and when you believe this, you no longer live to prove your value, but from the awareness that your value has already been given. And as this awareness begins to take root, you will witness a transformation that cannot be restrained. Not every circumstance will immediately disappear. Not every challenge will suddenly dissolve. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you, is not just a verse for Jesus, it is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. But you will no longer be the same person stepping into them. The way you see, the way you respond, the way you stand firm, everything will change. You will walk through what once made you tremble with a new peace. Not because you have gained control over all things, but because you know you are being held. If God is for us, who can be against us? And that certainty becomes the foundation upon which you move without wavering. So allow me to continue the work I am doing within you. Do not rush to hold on to old layers simply because they feel familiar. Do not return to former ways of seeing just because they seem easier. You are being led into a greater truth, a deeper identity, a more expansive life. And as you embrace this, you will not only see yourself transformed, but you will begin to notice that the world around you responds differently. Not because everything outside has changed first, but because you have been transformed from within. You no longer walk as one searching for yourself. You walk as one who has been found, and in every step you carry a freedom that no one can take away. For it does not come from circumstance, but from me, my beloved child. There are paths you've walked in quietness, whose meaning you yourself have not fully understood. Yet I tell you that not a single moment has been empty or wasted. Those silences were not delays, but places where I was pouring into you what you could not receive amid noise. When you felt set apart, unable to flow with what surrounded you, it was not a sign of rejection, but the way I held you back in order to shape you more deeply. I have been placing discernment within you, so you would not be carried away by every voice. I have been building maturity within you, so you would no longer react from passing emotion. And I have been establishing within you a steadiness that no circumstance can easily shake. As it is written, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, and that choosing does not make you like the multitude, but sets you apart according to my design. When you wonder why you have always carried a sense of not quite belonging to the patterns around you, why you cannot fully blend into what others seem to accept so easily, I want you to see this with new eyes. You were not created to dissolve into the crowd. You were created to carry a distinct tone within my symphony. What you once considered a weakness, the feeling of being different, the sense of standing apart, is in truth a sign that your true identity is awakening. For when you belong to me, you are no longer defined by temporary molds. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. For that transformation will lead you beyond old limitations and draw you into depths that not everyone is willing to enter. Recall the story of David when he was still a young shepherd in the fields. No one in his family thought to call him when the prophet Samuel came to anoint the future king. He was left among the sheep far from the sight of men. Yet it was precisely there, in that place of seeming obscurity, that I was training him, teaching him to face the lion and the bear, teaching him to remain faithful when no one was watching. When the appointed time came, the one who had been overlooked was the one who carried the weight of the calling. Do you see, my child? Separation is not loss, it is preparation. What I form within you in hidden places will become the foundation for what I will do through you when you stand among many. Therefore, my beloved, do not underestimate the quietness you are experiencing. The power I place within you does not always manifest through noise or outward display. There is a kind of strength that operates in stillness, a strength that does not need to announce itself, yet transforms the atmosphere around it. The kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power, and that power is often cultivated in the very places where you once believed nothing was happening. When you enter a place carrying the peace I have given you, you will see things begin to shift. Not because you strive to control, but because my presence within you is at work. What I have placed within you is not a title for you to wear outwardly, nor a position for you to pursue. It is the weight of my presence sown into your soul, a weight that draws you away from shallow living and from chasing what quickly fades. I have not called you to sit in high places merely to be seen. I have called you to carry light into places others avoid, to speak truth when silence would be easier, to remain steady when everything around you begins to waver. You are the light of the world, and light is not created to remain hidden, but to shine into the deepest darkness. Understand this. Everything you have walked through, the difficult seasons, the times you stood alone, the moments when you had no answers, has been part of my training. I do not teach you only through easy victories, but through moments when you must hold to faith, even without immediate results. In those moments, you learn to stand not upon circumstances, but upon me. And once that foundation is established, you will not be easily shaken. So, my beloved, do not rush to return to places where you feel you fit simply to be accepted. You are not called to fit everywhere. You are called to carry something that causes the places you enter to change. Embrace the depth into which I am leading you. Rest in the difference you once feared, for within that difference, I am revealing myself through you. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will no longer see yourself as one who does not belong, but as one set apart, prepared, shaped, and sent to fulfill what I placed within you from the beginning. My beloved, do not receive what I am opening before you with hesitation, nor hold it as though you must control every step. What I am working within you does not require striving to maintain. It requires a willing heart that allows. When you begin to sense a new steadiness in your decisions, a peace that is no longer easily shaken, do not doubt yourself. This is not something you have produced. It is a sign that you are stepping into what was prepared for you long before you became aware of it. As it is written, the Lord will make your path straight. And as you walk in that leading, you will no longer need to question why you are different. For you will understand that your difference is the very mark of my hand upon your life. Therefore, my child, rise in the quiet confidence of one who knows where they belong. You do not need to explain yourself to the world, nor prove your worth through standards that are constantly shifting. When you know who you are and me, you walk with a stillness that causes the noise around you to fade into insignificance. The righteous shall live by faith, and that faith is not a loud declaration, but a firm foundation that keeps you unmoved by the opinions or judgments of others. True authority does not require recognition to exist. It is revealed through the way you live, the way you stand, and the way you guard your heart from being carried away by what is fleeting. My beloved, do not let your mind be bound by the thought that only the perfect are worthy to carry what I have placed within them. I have never operated by such a standard. If I chose only those who never stumbled, no one would be called. What I seek is a heart that leans on me, a soul that does not turn away, even in its weakness. Remember Gideon, who saw himself as the least, the weakest, unfit to lead his people. Yet I called him a mighty warrior, not because of what he displayed at the time, but because of what I had already placed within him. And as he learned to trust me, what once seemed impossible became reality. Do you see, my child? What I behold is not your present condition, but the destiny I have sown within you. The rugged paths you have walked are not evidence of injustice, but refining grounds where I have engraved into you something no wealth could ever purchase: authority. Not the kind that is loud and seeks to be seen, but a quiet weight that enables your soul to stand firm when everything around you trembles. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life. And you are not merely enduring these trials, You are being shaped through them. Each time you refuse to give up, each time you keep your heart from growing hardened, each time you choose to rise instead of surrender, you are cooperating with what I am building. Look again at the places where you once felt the deepest pain. Not through the lens of sorrow, but with new understanding. It is in those very places that I have left my deepest imprint within you. Authority is not born from a flawless journey, but from a soul that has passed through fire without losing itself. There are battles you believed you had lost, yet you did not realize that you had already won. Not because the circumstances changed, but because your soul was not taken from you. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? And in those moments that seemed like defeat, you preserved what was most precious. That preservation is now becoming the foundation upon which I am building a new reality within you, one that is not easily shaken by outward events. So, my beloved, continue to move forward, not with anxiety over becoming perfect, but with rest in the knowledge that you are being perfected. Allow what I have placed within you to unfold step by step, rhythm by rhythm, breath by breath. Do not rush, yet do not draw back. For even now what you once sensed only faintly is becoming clearer. You are no longer one who is searching for identity. You are one who is walking in it, and with every step you take, I am there, not only beside you but living through you, guiding you into the fullness I ordained for you from the beginning. My beloved child, there are moments you have walked through whose true value you did not even recognize. When you chose to love while your heart was still bleeding. When you opened yourself to forgive, though your reasoning urged you to remain guarded. When you leaned toward the light, even while darkness seemed easier and less painful. You may have thought these were only small decisions. Yet in the hidden depths unseen by your eyes, they are the markings of a royal authority, being inscribed upon your soul. For as it is written, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And each time you do so, you are not merely responding rightly, you are exercising the authority I placed within you long before. You are not simply overcoming a circumstance. You are establishing a new reality, where light carries greater weight than darkness. There are tears you have hidden, sighs you believed no one heard, nights you lay in silence with a heavy heart. And I tell you that none of these have been lost. I have seen each one, not to keep you bound within pain, but to transform it into something that will nourish your future. You have counted my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle, and this means every tear you shed has been kept with purpose. What you considered weakness has not been discarded. I am turning it into strength. What you believed was an ending was not a final line. It was the beginning of a deeper dimension you had never yet entered. There is a story you must remember, so you may understand more clearly what I am doing. When the sinful woman entered the house of the Pharisee, she carried an alabaster jar of fragrant oil. She had no reputation, no standing, only a heart filled with repentance and love. She wept, washing my feet with her tears, drying them with her hair, and anointing them with oil. Those around her looked with judgment, but I saw something different. I saw a depth of devotion none in that room could comprehend. And I declared her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. Do you see, my child, what the world calls weakness, tears, brokenness within my hands becomes anointing, becomes the expression of true authority. Not the authority of position, but the authority of a transformed heart. Therefore, my beloved, do not diminish what you have walked through. You are not merely one who has been healed from wounds. You are being shaped to carry something greater. I am unveiling for you that your journey is not only about overcoming the past, but about entering into a new reality. You are not striving to attain a title. You are being formed from within. We are His workmanship created for good works. And what I am doing within you is not accidental, but a process guided with clear purpose. I did not choose you because you were strong by the world's definition. If that were so, I would have chosen only those who never break. But I chose you because you have learned to stand in me, even when everything around you was unstable. Remember Paul, who pleaded for the thorn in the flesh to be removed. Yet I answered, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Do you see, my child? What makes you sufficient is not the absence of weakness, but your willingness to depend on me. And it is within that dependence that my power is most clearly revealed. So when you look back upon your journey, do not see only what you have lost, but recognize what has been sown within you. Each time you chose what was right, though it was difficult. Each time you kept your heart tender instead of closing it. Each time you continued to trust without seeing clearly. You were walking in the authority I entrusted to you, and that authority is not loud, yet it is steadfast. It does not demand proof, yet it cannot be denied. Therefore, my beloved child, continue to walk in this awareness. Do not fear your weakness. Allow it to become the place where I reveal my strength. Do not be ashamed of the tears you have shed. Know that they are being transformed into an anointing for the days ahead. You are no longer one who is merely recovering. You are one being sent. And in every step you take, every word you speak, every decision you make, the authority I have placed within you is being revealed not through display, but through a presence that causes light to spread, even in the darkest places. My beloved, what you are sensing within a weight you cannot easily name is not a meaningless burden as you once thought. It is the sign of a commissioning being formed. The weight of guidance I am placing upon your soul when my word is sown within you. It is no longer a passing sound, but becomes light that enters hidden places, touching regions others have never seen. You will begin to discern subtle movements in the depths, things not everyone is able to perceive. As it is written, surely the Lord God does nothing unless He reveals His plan to His servants. And this is not reserved for those you consider exceptional, but for hearts willing to listen. This is why your soul carries a different sensitivity, a depth that no longer allows you to live superficially as before. But understand this clearly, my child. What I am placing within you is not meant for display before others. True authority does not require noise to prove its existence. It does not grow through recognition, nor diminish through misunderstanding. It is revealed through stability, a steadiness that no judgment can shake. When you enter a place and your heart remains at peace, when you stand amid upheaval and are not carried away, this is not passivity. It is the evidence that I am establishing a foundation within you. Be still and know that I am God is not a call to withdraw, but an invitation to stand firm in the awareness that I hold all things, even when you do not yet understand. There are seasons I allow you to pass through where answers seem withheld, times when you call out and are met with silence. You once thought this was distance between us, yet in truth, it is the space I use to teach you how to stand without relying on emotion or outward signs. Remember Elijah when he hid in the cave, expecting me to appear in the great wind, in the earthquake, in the fire, yet I was not in those displays. I came in a gentle whisper, and only when he became still did he recognize me. Do you see, my child? True recognition does not come through loudness, but through a heart quiet enough to hear. Therefore, my beloved, do not rush to explain yourself when others do not understand what you carry. Not everyone is given the same level of discernment, and not everyone is ready to enter the depth into which I am leading you. What you feel is not a heaviness to be removed, but a weight to be stewarded as you learn to carry it in rest. It will no longer press upon you, but will become guidance for each step you take. The wise in heart are discerning, and that discernment is not loud, but sure. When I am silent, it is not because I have departed from you. Within those quiet spaces, I am building what cannot be formed in haste. If I answered every question the moment you asked, you would depend on answers more than on me. But when I remain silent, you learn to take deeper root, to stand firm. Not because you have seen everything, but because you trust the one who leads you. And when that foundation is established, you will no longer be easily shaken by what happens around you. Therefore, my beloved child, embrace the weight you are carrying as part of your calling. Do not try to lighten it by returning to what is shallow, nor attempt to make it disappear, so that you may resemble others. You are not called to live lightly by the world's definition. You are called to live deeply in me, and within that depth, you will discover the steadiness you once sought elsewhere. Allow me to continue teaching you how to stand, not in strain, but in rest. Let me teach you how to listen, not through noise, but through the stillness within. For it is there that I speak most clearly to you. And when you learn to live in that quietness, you will no longer fear seasons of silence, for you will know that even when no words are heard, I am still at work. In each such moment, your foundation is being built firm, deep, and unshakable. My beloved, there are seasons when you feel set apart from the flow. Others are walking in, as though you stand on the margins of what seems important. You see others moving forward, while you are led in a different direction, one unfamiliar, unclear, and at times unsettling. But I tell you, this is not rejection. It is a purposeful repositioning. I have drawn you away from spaces that no longer align with your soul. Not so that you would lose, but so that you would not be confined. As it is written, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps, and the steps you thought were misaligned are in truth being adjusted to bring you to where you truly belong, where your identity meets the destiny I have written. You may have felt as though you were slowing down or even moving backward while others appear to advance. But you do not see the whole picture. When I move you, I do not follow the rhythm of the world. There are paths whose meaning becomes clear only in hindsight. Remember Abraham when I called him to leave his homeland without giving him a detailed map. He walked not because he understood, but because he trusted the one who called him. And within that uncertain journey, I established a covenant that extended far beyond his lifetime. Do you see, my child? At times you must leave what is familiar, not because it is wrong, but because it is no longer wide enough for what I am preparing within you. My beloved, Even now I am bringing you into a moment your soul has long awaited. Not merely a new understanding, but a deep activation within. What I am doing does not remain at the level of thought or feeling. It is beginning to operate within your very being. Everything you have walked through, the trials that once seemed meaningless, the dark seasons where no way out was visible, the times you remained standing, though your strength was nearly gone, none of it has been disconnected. They are like stones set carefully in place, on forming the foundation for this very moment. God works all things together for good for those who love Him. And now that working together is no longer a distant promise, but something you are beginning to recognize. Do not think that what you have gone through is merely a collection of memories to be left behind. I have used those very things to form within you a depth that no one can take away. When you were drawn out of familiar places, it was because I was positioning you within a new space, a place where you can walk in a fuller expression of who you truly are. I will make your path straight. And this does not mean you will always see the way clearly, but that you will be guided step by step, even when you do not yet understand. Let me open your eyes to see what you have not perceived before. You have not been left behind. You are being led deeper. You have not been slowed down. You are being positioned. What I am activating within you is not something foreign. It is the unveiling of your true self that I placed within you from the beginning. As you begin to walk in this awareness, you will no longer compare your journey with others, for you will understand that you are walking a path uniquely set out for you. Therefore, my beloved, do not fear the changes you do not yet understand. Do not rush back simply because you feel out of place. I did not lead you out of the old to leave you without direction. I led you out so you could find your true direction. And as you continue forward, you will begin to see how everything connects, not by chance, but according to an order that only I can fully see. Now walk forward in trust. You do not need to grasp everything. You only need to know that I am leading you. What I have begun in you, I will not leave unfinished. This present moment where you stand is not a stopping point, but a beginning, a threshold into a new expression, where all that I have sown within you begins to operate more clearly, more deeply and more firmly than ever before. My beloved child, receive this moment with reverence, yet without fear, for what is opening before you is not unfamiliar. It is what I have long prepared within the hidden depths of your being. If you were not ready, I would not have brought you to this point. Every season you have passed through, whether bright or dark, easy or filled with challenge, has been part of my quiet shaping for this very moment. From here onward, you will not walk as one searching for something undefined, but as one placed within what has already been ordained. The Lord establishes the steps of the righteous, and He delights in their way. Therefore, you do not stand here by chance, but by my precise leading. So stand firm not in strain, but in the rest of one who knows where they belong. You do not need to compete to hold what I have given you, nor prove yourself to be recognized. What I have placed within you does not come from the competition of the world, but from eternal identity. As you stand in that, you will find that the confusion you once carried begins to dissolve. You will understand that you were never lost, nor ever left behind. The turns you did not understand, the steps that seemed misaligned, all have been leading you to the very place I intended. He will make your path straight. And that path may not always be easy to comprehend, but it is always exact. My beloved, allow your soul to receive this in a deep stillness, a stillness not empty, but filled with my presence. This is not the end of your journey, but the opening of a new season, where you do not merely know of authority as a concept, but begin to live within its reality. From this moment forward, every step you take will no longer be uncertain, wandering, but a confirmation that you are walking in what was written for you from the beginning. The righteous shall live by faith. And that faith is no longer only something you speak, but the very ground upon which you walk each day. Open your heart fully, my beloved, and hold nothing back. I am touching the deepest places within you. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says, "This is not history. It is a living promise about your future." Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. The corners you once concealed, the memories you thought you had to carry alone, the words that once caused you to doubt yourself. But as I place my hand upon your soul, every voice of rejection will begin to fade, like ashes carried away by the wind. You will no longer live as one trying to piece together fragments, but as one who carries within a decree established from heaven. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. And this is not a distant idea, but a reality I am establishing within you, even now. Remember the story of the prodigal son. When he returned, he did not come back as one who felt worthy, but as one who believed he had lost everything. Yet while he was still far off, his father ran to him, embraced him, clothed him with a new robe, and placed a ring upon his hand, not to remind him of the past, but to restore his identity. Do you see, my child? My restoration does not stop at forgiveness. It moves into reinstatement. In the same way, you are not only being healed from what was, you are being repositioned into what has always been yours. Therefore, my beloved, walk from this place with a new steadiness. Do not turn back to question whether you are ready. Do not search for additional signs for confirmation. I have spoken, and what I have spoken is enough. As you walk, clarity will unfold. Not because you understand everything at once, but because you are moving within the light of my guidance. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, and that light is sufficient for each step. It does not need to illuminate the entire road at once. So go, my beloved, go not as one searching for direction, but as one who is being led. Go not to become, but to reveal what you were created to be. And with every step you take, with every breath you carry, you will come to realize that I am not only with you, I am living through you, completing what I have begun, and leading you into a fullness that nothing can hinder. My beloved child, from this moment, I am leading you into a new state of living, where your words no longer arise from hesitation, but from an inner fullness. You will begin to see that what once caused you to delay no longer holds you. for you are no longer standing upon old memories, but upon the affirmation I have placed within you. You do not need to prove your worth. I have already set my seal upon you. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. And this means that every word you speak and every step you take no longer bears only the imprint of your natural self, but carries the weight of life that comes from me, a weight you are now beginning to perceive more clearly than ever before. But my beloved, hold firmly to this foundation. What I place within you is not for your elevation in the way the world understands, but so that through you I may be revealed. True authority does not lead you into self-exaltation, but into a deep humility when I position you in a new place. I also plant within you a gentleness that guards you from the subtle pull of pride. Whoever humbles himself will be exalted, and that humility does not diminish you. It keeps you aligned with where I desire you to stand. You will walk in light, yet that light will not blind you. You will carry influence, yet that influence will not control your soul. You will reach many, yet you will not lose the purity I have engraved within you. Remember Daniel, who was placed in positions of honor among kings, yet his heart never turned away from me. Though he held authority and was respected in the world, he knelt in prayer each day without change, without compromise. And it was that unwavering devotion that kept him standing firm amid schemes and trials. Do you see, my child? Elevation did not draw Daniel away from me. It made his dependence on me even deeper. In the same way, I do not lift you up so that you may separate yourself from me. I lift you so that you may learn to root yourself more deeply in me. Therefore, my beloved, never allow your progress to cause you to forget your source. Every step you take must remain anchored in seeking me, not in panic or fear, but in deep longing. Seek the Lord while he may be found. And as you keep your heart turned toward me, you will remain within the flow of grace, where the anointing does not run dry, and where protection does not cease. You will not need to strive to hold what I have given. For when you remain near me, all things are preserved naturally. There may be moments when you sense yourself stepping into new spaces, where greater responsibility and deeper influence await you. Do not be afraid of this. What I have placed within you is sufficient to sustain you. And as you continue to walk in humility, returning to me in each moment, you will discover that you are not weighed down by pressure, but lifted by grace. My grace is sufficient for you, and that sufficiency is not a limitation, but an endless source upon which you may rely. So, my beloved child, walk with firmness yet with gentleness, speak with certainty, yet keep your heart attentive. Live within influence, yet do not allow influence to possess you. For what I am doing within you is not merely an outward adjustment, but a transformation at the deepest level, where you no longer live from yourself, but from union with me. And as you keep me at the center, everything else will find its proper place. You will not need to arrange all things by your own strength, for order will flow from my presence within you. From this place you will walk not as one striving to maintain balance, but as one who is being upheld, and with every step you will come to see that I am not only with you, I am leading you deeper into myself, where you find your source, your direction, and the fullness you have long been seeking. My beloved, look back upon the journey you have walked, not to be consumed by what-if questions, nor to analyze every detail of what has passed, but to recognize that my hand has never left you for a single moment. Even in the days you thought you were feeling your way through darkness, I was quietly guiding you. When you believed you were waiting in delay, I was preparing you for what you could not yet carry had it come too soon. And now, as the pieces begin to come together, you will see clearly that not a single moment was wasted. As it is written, all things work together for good for those who love God, and your very life is becoming a living testimony of that truth, that every step, whether bright or dark, has led you to where you now stand, no longer as one searching, but as one who has received what was appointed. Remember Joshua when he stood before the Jordan, where the waters still flowed swiftly, where the circumstances showed no sign of change. Before him was not an already open path, but a moment that required a step of faith. Yet my word had spoken, "Be strong and courageous." And it was only when his feet touched the water that the river parted. Do you see, my child? Fulfillment does not wait for complete clarity. It begins when you step in conviction. In the same way, you do not need another sign to prove that you are ready. The very fact that you are here listening, sensing the stirring within you, that is already the sign. And as you continue to walk from this point, you will begin to perceive a change that is not loud yet deeply transformative. You will no longer react as you once did, no longer allowing fear to govern your decisions. The things that once caused you to hesitate will no longer hold authority over you. Not because the world has suddenly become easier, but because you have been changed from within. You no longer define yourself by what happens around you, but by what I have placed within your soul. You are the light of the world, and this is not an invitation for you to strive to become, but a confirmation that this nature has long been within you. Yet, my beloved, engraved this deeply within you, the light you carry is not something you possess to control, but something entrusted to you to bear. As you begin to see your influence extend, as you recognize that your presence shifts the atmosphere around you, do not allow your heart to lean towards self-exaltation. Remember that I am the source of all things. Whoever abides in me and I in them will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. It is this connection that keeps you from depletion, from deviation, from losing the purity I have placed within you. Consider Moses when he led the people through the sea, standing before the Red Sea. He too faced doubt and pressure. Yet when he lifted his staff in obedience to my word, the waters parted not by his own strength, but by my power working through his obedience. Do you see, my child? The difference does not lie in how much ability you possess, but in whether you abide in me. When you remain in me, what once seemed impossible becomes a pathway. Therefore, my beloved, continue to walk with rest, yet not passivity, with conviction, yet not pride. Do not turn back to search for what I have already placed within you. Move forward to reveal it. You are no longer one wandering among uncertain choices. You are one walking in confirmation. And every step you take from here is not merely movement, but the manifestation of what has already been established in the unseen. Keep me at the center of all things. When you do this, you will not need to strive to hold the light. The light will shine through you. You will not need to guard the path. The path will be kept. And day by day you will come to realize that I have not only led you to this point, but I am continuing to lead you further still, deeper still, into the fullness I ordained for you from the beginning, my beloved. Let your heart remain anchored in me. For when I am at the center of your life, everything else will find its proper order. You do not need to strain to preserve the light, nor fear that you will lose what I have given. When you abide in me, the light is not something you must sustain by effort. It will flow naturally through you like living water that never runs dry. As it is written, whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. And you do not need to create that flow. You need only remain in the source. And as you keep me at the center, you will realize that you do not need to protect the path you walk. You are not the guardian of your journey. I am the one who keeps it. There were times you tried to control to ensure that nothing would move beyond your understanding. Yet I teach you that true security does not come from control, but from trust. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, and this means that every step you take, whether you see clearly or not, is held within my covering. Remember John, the disciple who leaned his head upon my chest at the Last Supper. He did not need to press forward to draw nearer, nor did he strive to prove himself worthy. He simply remained there in quiet closeness, and from that place he received deep revelation. Do you see, my child? Depth does not come from doing more, but from drawing nearer. When you remain close to me, you will hear more clearly, see more deeply, and walk more steadily. Therefore, my beloved, do not allow your heart to be pulled away by lesser things. Do not place me in a small corner of your life while attempting to arrange everything else by your own strength. Let me be at the center, and all things will find their rightful place around me. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Not because you have earned it, but because you have set the order rightly, and day by day you will begin to perceive something even deeper. I am not only the one who has led you here, but I am continually leading you onward. Your journey does not end with what you have already seen. It unfolds with each step, each layer, each new depth. You will be led further than you once imagined, not so that you would be lost, but so that you may enter into the fullness I ordained for you from the beginning. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining ever brighter until the full day. And you are walking that path, a path that continually opens, continually renews. So, my beloved, remain in me, not as an obligation, but as the place where you belong. Let me be your center, your source, your foundation. And as you do this, you will no longer need to strive to become something else. You will simply be who you truly are, guided, sustained, and brought into the fullness I have prepared for you from the beginning. My beloved child, with each passing day, you will begin to see more clearly a truth you once only sensed. I am not only the one who brought you to this place, but the one who continues to lead you further. Your journey does not end with what you have experienced or understood. It is expanding step by step, layer by layer into depths you have not yet touched. What I have prepared for you is not a static destination, but a living flow, a path that is continually being opened and renewed. And you do not enter it to become lost, but to move deeper into the fullness I have ordained for you from the beginning. You may have thought you had reached a certain limit, that what you have seen was enough. But I tell you this, what you have experienced is only the beginning of something greater. Just as the light of dawn does not stop at its first rays, but spreads until midday brightness, so it is with your life. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining ever brighter until the full day. And you are upon that path, a path that does not stand still, does not run dry, and is never closed. Each step you take will open new understanding. Each season will reveal a deeper dimension of my presence. Remember Enoch, who walked with God until he was no more, for I took him. His life was not defined by outward events that men often seek, but by the constancy of his communion with me, and it was that steady walk that carried him into a reality beyond natural limits. Do you see, my child? The true journey is not made of rare leaps, but of continual progress in closeness with me. As you walk with me each day, you will be led into places your mind has never imagined. My beloved, do not fear the deeper places I am opening before you. At times they may make you feel small, for the deeper you go, the more you will perceive the vastness of what I am doing. Yet this is not to discourage you, but to draw you into greater dependence on me. I do not expand the path so that you must manage it alone, but so that you may learn to walk with me more intimately. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. And as you keep your heart tender, you will always be led in the path that is true. Therefore, my beloved child, do not attempt to confine your journey within the boundaries of what you have already known. Do not assume that you must preserve an old image of yourself. I am leading you further, deeper, and wider, not so that you would lose who you are, but so that you may become more fully who you were created to be. What is new will not pull you away from your foundation. It will cause you to take deeper root in me, and as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will no longer fear change, nor be unsettled by what is not yet clear. You will begin to move with a new peace, not because you see the entire path, but because you know the one who leads you. I do not merely go before you, I walk with you. I do not only open the way, I keep you upon it. So continue forward, my beloved. Let each day become a new discovery in me. Let every step be a response to my leading, and through it all, you will come to understand that this journey is not a sequence of stopping points, but an unceasing flow, a current that carries you into ever increasing light until you stand in the fullness I have ordained for you from the beginning. My beloved child, listen deeply within your heart to what you are sensing. For those inner stirrings are not meaningless confusion, nor are they a sign that you are losing something precious. I am touching the most hidden place within you, where what is old is no longer wide enough to contain what I am preparing to pour out. There are silences that leave you unsettled, movements within that make you feel as though you are losing your direction. Yet I tell you that this is how I expand your heart, as it is written, "Open your mouth wide and I will fill it." Psalm 81:10. So the emptiness you feel is not lack, but the space I am clearing to fill with new life. And in the midst of long nights, when you cannot explain why your mind is restless, do not rush into fear or try to suppress what you feel. I do not awaken you with anxiety, but with the quiet call of destiny. There are things of great weight that cannot be borne in comfort. They must be formed in moments when you come face to face with yourself. As it is written, "The Lord searches the heart and examines the mind." Jeremiah 17:10. So what you are going through is not instability, but a process of refining and preparation. I am placing within you a stirring that cannot be silenced, so that you will no longer be satisfied with what is merely enough, but will begin to long for what is complete. Look back to the story of Samuel as a child. When my voice came to him in the night, and he did not yet recognize it, he ran to Eli again and again, thinking it was the voice of a man, until he was taught how to respond. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3:10. You say, my voice does not always come with immediate clarity. There are seasons when you will feel uncertain, when you will search, when you will not fully understand. But it is in that very process that your ears are opened, and your heart is aligned to recognize me. What you are experiencing is the same, not a loss of direction, but a learning of how to listen. Do not assume that the stirring within you is a sign of danger. I do not push you forward with the pressure of fear. I lead you by the pull of purpose. When you feel as though something is calling you to go further, deeper, that is when I am placing within you a desire that rises beyond your former limits. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. Isaiah 55:8-9. So what you do not understand today is not meaningless. It simply exceeds your present vision. And so, when you begin to notice that what once made you feel secure is no longer enough, do not turn back in search of familiarity. A garment that has become too small cannot fit again, just because you try to wear it. I am leading you out of old frameworks, not to cause you loss, but to bring you into greater freedom. As it is written, no one pours new wine into old wine skins, but new wine must be put into new wine skins. Luke 5:37-38. So the change within your heart is a sign that I am preparing something new for you, and you must be renewed to contain it. Let me tell you something you must hold firmly. The urgency you feel is not a threat, but a sacred preparation. I do not rush in the way of man, yet I move in perfect timing. When you sense that something is shifting, though you cannot yet see it clearly, that is when I am working in places your eyes have not reached. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. So you do not need to understand everything in order to keep moving. You only need to trust that I am leading you, and in all these things, keep your heart soft before me. Do not close yourself off simply because you do not understand, and do not resist merely because you have not yet seen the outcome. I am doing a work that is quiet yet powerful, unseen yet unstoppable. Every hidden emotion, every rising thought, every moment you question the path ahead, all of it rests within my hands. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. Therefore, you do not need to complete by yourself what I have already begun. So, my beloved, when your heart no longer feels as steady as before, it is not a sign of loss, but the call of growth. When you sense that you no longer belong to what once defined you, it is not displacement but transition. When you cannot return to who you once were, it is not failure but evidence that you have gone further than you realize. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. what God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Trust that I am with you in every step of this transformation, and it is I who am making all things new within you, little by little, until you come to see that what you once feared was in fact the doorway into the destiny I prepared for you from the beginning. My beloved child, listen carefully to what is rising within you, for not every soul recognizes this shifting. There are those who continue walking in familiar circles, not because they are weak, but because they have not yet been touched to awaken. But you, the very fact that you sense this stirring, is a mark that you are being drawn into a deeper dimension. I have opened your ears to hear beyond the noise of this world. As it is written, whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says. Revelation 2007. And what you are hearing is not chaos, but direction given in stillness. Do not underestimate this sensitivity, for it does not come from your own striving, but from me opening within you a new level of awareness, where you no longer live only by what is seen, but by what is revealed from within. There will come a time when you wonder why you can no longer live as you once did. Why what used to be enough now feels too narrow, and why your heart will not allow you to return to your former sense of ease. Understand this, my child. It is not loss, but maturity breaking through old limitations. I am leading you out of where you once belonged in order to bring you into where you were truly appointed to be. When I open a door, do not try to return to the old room, for as it is written, I have set before you an open door which no one can shut. Revelation 3:28. So what lies ahead of you is not uncertainty, but a path already prepared. You do not need to see every step clearly. You only need to walk in the light given for the present moment. In this process, do not allow fear to come between you and me. Fear grows only when you believe you must hold everything in your own hands. But I have not called you to strive for control. I have called you to learn dependence. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 305. So what I ask of you is not complete comprehension, but surrender. When you release the need to understand everything, you will begin to see more clearly what I am doing. True peace does not come from holding everything together, but from knowing who is holding you. Remember the story of Peter when he stepped out of the boat to walk on the water. As long as his eyes were fixed on me, he walked upon what nature could not sustain. But when he turned his gaze toward the wind and the waves, he began to sink. And I reached out to him, not to rebuke him, but to lift him back up. Matthew 14:29-31. Do you see? The issue is not whether you will face storms, but what you choose to look at. The movements you sense today may cause you to waver if you behold them through fear, but if you keep your eyes on me, they will become the very path on which you walk. Therefore, my beloved, do not remain still when I am leading you forward. Stability does not mean immobility. It is steadiness while continuing to move. Open your heart, yet do not allow doubt to close what I am opening. Listen to the call, but do not delay simply because you cannot yet see the whole picture. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. So you do not need light for the entire journey, only enough for the next step. As you cross the threshold I have set before you, you will look back and realize that everything which once confused you was in truth ordered with purpose. The nights you lay awake were not meaningless unrest, but moments in which I was working in the depths. The emotions you could not name were not chaos, but preparation. I do not work at random. All things in your life are being woven together with intention. As it is written, all things work together for good for those who love God. Romans 8:28. So nothing you have gone through is without value, even if you do not yet understand it fully. And even now, as you place your hand upon your heart and feel its rhythm, know that you are not merely sensing. You are responding. You are not one being carried aimlessly by the current. You are one being guided within it. I am calling you not to instill fear, but to awaken you. I am stirring you not to disorient you, but to bring you back to your true foundation. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. So in the midst of every movement, you can still find your stability in me. Step forward, my beloved. You do not need to be perfect, only willing. You do not need to be certain of everything, only to trust. Where I am leading you is not unfamiliar, but the very place your soul was created to belong. And when you enter into it, you will understand that every stirring was not meant to cause you to lose your way, but to bring you back into your rightful place within my eternal purpose. My beloved child, do not rush to demand full understanding before you move forward, for the space of not knowing is the very ground where faith takes root and grows. If everything were clear within your sight, your heart would have no need to rely on me, and you would easily forget the one who leads you. I have seen many stand before the doorway I opened, yet hesitate not because they were not called, but because they sought certainty in their own way. They returned to what was familiar, believing it to be safety. Yet in truth, they missed what was set before them. But you, even when you cannot fully articulate what is happening within you, still recognize a different rhythm, a stirring that does not come from this world. As it is written, the wind blows where it wishes. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. John 3:8. So what you are sensing does not need to be explained by reason, for it comes from a source deeper than all your thoughts. Then you will begin to realize that the things which once held you back, which once carried weight over your decisions, are gradually losing their power, not because they have disappeared, but because you are being lifted to a different level, where those former constraints no longer belong. I am not bringing confusion into your life. I am arranging everything according to an order you have never seen before. New doors are beginning to open. Greater thoughts are entering your mind, and paths you once would not have dared to consider are now drawing near. As it is written, do not remember the former things. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18-19. So do not cling to what is old, as though it were the only place you belong. I am calling you out of familiarity, not to cause you to lose your way, but to bring you into a breath you have never experienced. Let me remind you of Abraham, who left his homeland without knowing where he was going simply because he trusted my word. He had no map, no assurance in the way man seeks it, yet he possessed something far greater, trust. And because he walked forward in that place of unknowing, he became the father of many nations as I had promised. Genesis 12:1-4. Do you see? The greatest steps are not built upon complete understanding, but upon obedience before full clarity. What I am doing in you carries the same nature. I do not call you because you are already ready in your own estimation, but because I am making you ready as you walk. Do not be afraid when you feel as though you are being separated from what once felt familiar, A seed cannot become a tree if it insists on remaining in its original form, as it is written, "Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies," John 12:24. So what you are experiencing is not loss but transformation. I am not taking anything of true value from you. I am removing the outer layers that no longer serve, so that the life within you may be fully revealed. The sensation of letting go may feel like emptiness, but it is within that very space that I will plant what is new. Therefore, when you sense the urging to move forward, do not delay simply because you do not yet understand everything. You are not called to control the journey, but to walk in trust. As it is written, "The righteous shall live by faith." Habakkuk 2:4. So, you do not need all the answers to continue. Every step you take in trust is a response to me, and each response draws you deeper into what I have prepared. My beloved, allow your heart to remain open to this movement. What you are experiencing is not meaningless disturbance, but intentional restructuring. I am dismantling what restricts you, not to weaken you, but to expand you. The opportunities before you are not random. The new thoughts are not mere imagination, and the doors set before you are not illusions. They are all part of my leading. And as you continue to walk, you will come to understand that the initial lack of clarity was never an obstacle, but a beginning. It is precisely in the place where you cannot rely on your own certainty that you will learn to rely on me. And when you look back, you will see that everything which once confused you was in truth guiding you forward step by step until you stand in the place I have appointed for you, a place not foreign, but one your soul has always been meant to inhabit. My beloved child, release your hold on what is quietly departing from your life, for what has fulfilled its purpose is no longer meant to remain. If you try to keep it, you will confine yourself within a space that is no longer sufficient to hold the new life I am bringing. I do not take away in order to diminish you, but to expand your capacity, just as a gardener prunes the branches, not out of disdain for the tree, but so that it may bear more fruit. As it is written, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." 2 Corinthians 3:17. And that freedom is not only the leaving behind of the old, but the release into what has already been prepared for you. And in those moments, when you feel as though you are standing between two shores behind you, what is familiar before you, what is not yet clear, do not assume that you have been abandoned in an empty space. No, my child, that stillness is a sacred corridor through which I am moving you from limitation into expansion. There are changes that do not arrive with noise, but with a gentle weight resting upon your heart, making it impossible for you to return as you once were. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. For in that stillness I am continually at work, weaving what is new, though your eyes have not yet seen it. Your soul has already begun to sense it. Do not resist this leading simply because you cannot yet grasp the whole picture. I do not require you to understand everything. I invite you to trust. Every step you take, even the smallest, reveals a portion of the path I have already set before you. You are not being pushed into uncertainty. You are being guided into what has been prepared. Your word is a lamp to my feet. Psalm 119:105. And that light does not shine far ahead for you to see everything, but it is sufficient for you to take the next step with steadiness. Remember the story of Elijah, when he hid in the cave waiting for me in the great wind. the earthquake, and the fire. Yet I was not in those displays. I came to him in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. Do you see what is most significant does not always come with outward force, but with inward subtlety? In the same way, what I am speaking to you is not the cry of fear, but a quiet invitation carrying authority. If you seek me only in grand signs, you may miss the guidance that speaks softly within your heart each day. Therefore, my beloved, allow your heart to soften. Do not strain yourself in resistance to what I am doing. Rigidity does not protect you. It only slows you down. I do not force you, yet I do not cease to call you forward today. If you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. So respond with openness, readiness, and trust. Even if you take only a small step, that act of obedience will open a dimension you have not yet seen. You are not someone who has wandered into this moment by accident. You have been chosen to step into it. While many hesitate before the door, you have heard the call. While many search for outward signs, you have been touched from within, and that is what sets you apart. Not that you are stronger, but that you have responded. You did not choose me, but I chose you. John 15:16. So your presence in this moment is not random, but intentionally appointed. And as you move deeper into this leading, you will come to understand that what you once thought was loss was in truth a transition. What has departed has not taken any part of your life with it. It has simply made room for what is more fitting. What lies ahead is not a cold emptiness, but a living reality waiting for you to step into it. I am not leading you into something foreign. I am bringing you back to the place your soul was always meant to belong. Therefore, my beloved, incline your heart even deeper to the place where the noise of fear and doubt can no longer reach. Remain in the stillness where I am speaking, for it is there that you will discern the way forward. You do not need to run. You do not need to rush. Yet neither must you stop. Walk in trust step by step, and you will see that I am always there guiding, preserving and completing the work I have begun in you, my beloved child. Understand this clearly in the depths of your soul. The weariness you are feeling is not a sign of collapse, but a sign that something is being formed within you. There are seasons when I do not immediately make things lighter for you because I am making you deeper, broader, able to carry what you could not have borne before. You think you are exhausted, yet in truth, you are carrying a spiritual life that is growing within you day by day. As it is written, yet once more I will shake, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Hebrews 12:26-27. So what is being shaken around you is not meant to destroy you, but to remove what no longer aligns with where I am leading you. Then you will come to see that the feeling of being pushed out of what is familiar is not the loss of safety, but a release from unseen limitations. There were places that once sheltered you, once helped you survive, but now they have become walls, preventing you from stepping into fullness. I am not calling you back to those places, even if they seem comfortable, because what I have for you does not lie behind you. Forgetting what lies behind and pressing forward to what lies ahead. Philippians 3:13-14 is not a denial of the past, but a refusal to be held captive by it. The stirring within you is not meant to bring panic, but to align you with the place I have already appointed, a place not accidental, but carefully prepared for you. You may feel as though you are suspended between two realities, no longer belonging to what is behind, yet not fully standing in what is ahead. do not fear that space, for it is where faith is refined. I do not abandon you in transition. I shape you within it. The righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:10-17. And faith does not grow when everything is clear, but when you continue to walk, even without seeing it all. It is precisely where you can no longer rely on what is familiar, that you begin to learn how to rely fully on me. Remember the people of Israel when they left Egypt. They were freed from bondage. Yet they did not immediately enter the promised land. They had to pass through the wilderness, a place that was no longer their past, yet not fully their future. In that wilderness, I taught them to trust. I taught them to receive bread from heaven. I taught them to follow the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. Exodus 13:21-22. Do you see that in between place was not lostness, but a school of faith? In the same way, where you stand today is not an empty void, but a place where I am training you to carry what I am about to entrust to you. Therefore, my beloved, do not withdraw when you feel pressure rising. That pressure is not meant to crush you, but to form you. An arrow must be drawn back before it can fly far. A seed must be buried before it can break forth into life. As it is written, we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans 5:10. So what you are going through is not an ending, but a process that leads to maturity. Do not step back simply because you do not see immediate results. This is not the moment to withdraw, but to rise not by your own strength, but through the awareness that I am within you. He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. 1 John 4:24. So you are not alone in this journey. I am not standing at a distance observing. I am at work within you through every rhythm, every breath, every smallest decision. The urgency you feel is not a warning of danger, but the call of birth. What is coming is not your ending, but the emergence of a deeper, stronger, truer version of who you are. As it is written, behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 21:5. So do not be afraid when you see things changing. It is a sign that I am at work. Keep your heart open. My beloved, continue forward, even if it is only a single small step, and when you feel weak, remember that it is precisely in that weakness that my power is made perfect. You are not losing yourself. You are becoming what I ordained from the beginning. My beloved child, engrave this deeply within your soul. The intense stirring you are experiencing is not a passing signal, but the mark of a decree being formed in the spiritual realm. When I prepare to bring someone into a new position, I do not begin with external circumstances, but with the depths within them. I shake what once seemed stable, not to cause collapse, but to ensure they do not carry burdens that no longer belong into the place I am leading them. For if you hold on to old constraints, you will not be able to stand in new authority. As it is written, new wine must be put into new wine skins. Luke. So you are being renewed from within layer by layer, in order to receive what is greater that I am preparing to entrust to you. And in this process, you may feel as though everything familiar is gradually being loosened from your grasp, as though your former foundation is no longer steady. But do not misunderstand this. I am not taking away in order to cause loss. I am loosening so that you may be free. What I am doing is not merely changing your outward circumstances, but bringing about a comprehensive shift in the way you see, the way you think, and the way you walk. I am expanding your vision so that you are no longer confined by what you once knew. I am placing new weight upon your words, so that when you speak, they carry authority not from yourself, but from me working within you. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. So the elevation I am preparing is not random, but the result of a process you have already walked through, even if you have not yet fully recognized its value. Remember Joseph, who endured many years in hidden places before stepping into authority. When I lifted him up, he did not carry the bitterness of his past, nor the chains of what had wounded him. If his heart had remained bound to those things, he would not have been able to fulfill what was new. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. But I prepared him in secret places, so that when the time came, he did not merely change his own circumstances, but became an instrument to preserve an entire people. Genesis 41. Do you see? Elevation does not begin on the throne, but in the deep transformations of the heart. Therefore, my beloved, do not rush to fill the space you now feel. That space is not a sign of lack, but a place I have set apart to rewrite your position. If you hasten to fill it again with what is familiar, you will interrupt what I am forming. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Psalm 30:77. For there are works I complete only when you are still enough, not to interfere with your own understanding. You are not abandoned in this season. On the contrary, you are being set apart to be reshaped. Some connections are leaving, and some things no longer feel as joined to you as before. Not because you have lost your worth, but because you are drawing nearer to the place where you truly belong. What is leaving you is not taking your future with it. It is only making room for what is more aligned with what I have ordained. I will cause you to walk in my statutes. Ezekiel 36:127. So your direction is not something you must discover on your own. It is something I am shaping step by step. Stand firm in the awakening I have stirred within you. Do not let fear close your heart, and do not let uncertainty stop your steps. The door I have shown you is not a passing image in your mind, but a reality drawing nearer each day. And when it opens fully, you will no longer stand outside as an observer. You will enter as one who has been prepared beforehand, one who has been invited, and one who has been given the authority to remain there. Therefore, my beloved, continue walking with a tender and trusting heart. Do not cling to the old, and do not doubt the new. What I am doing within you is not temporary, but an establishment for a season that is deeper, vital, and truer. And when you enter it, you will realize that every shaking, every empty space, every separation, all of it was my hand leading you to the very place you were created to belong. My beloved child, let your heart settle deeply, not into emptiness, but into the solemnity of the moment I have placed before you. What I am opening now is no longer merely a gentle reminder as before, but a clear positioning of your soul. I did not lead you through these recent days so that you would return to the old place, nor so that you would stand forever at the threshold of awareness. I brought you here to lift you into a level you once only touched briefly like a passing wind. But now, I want you to stand firmly in it as a reality. The stirring you have carried within your heart is not the end. It is only the first door, the door that awakened you from what was temporary. But beyond it, there is another door, and that door is not opened by passing emotion, but by a decree released from me. And when that decree is established, you will enter a kind of peace the world cannot understand or take away. As it is written, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives." John 14:27. So this peace does not depend on outward circumstances, nor is it shaken by what you see. It is not the temporary quietness of an environment, but a living authority within you, a foundation upon which you stand, speak and act. When you enter this peace, you will no longer be swept away by shifting circumstances, but will become one who stands firm in the midst of them. Understand this deeply, my child. The peace I am bringing you into is not a fleeting, pleasant feeling, but the foundation of the authority I am establishing within you. It is not moved by change, not stolen by noise, and not broken by darkness. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. And that guarding is not merely a layer of protection, but a power that shapes you from within. It defines how you respond, how you think, and how you walk in every circumstance. You are no longer called to live in reaction to what happens around you. I am leading you into a position where you are no longer dominated, but begin to govern like David. When he faced Goliath, he was not shaken by the voice of intimidation, because he had already stood firm in the knowledge of me beforehand. 1 Samuel 17. The peace within him did not come from easy circumstances, but from deep communion with me. And from that place, he did not merely face the challenge, he overcame it. In the same way, I am teaching you not only to stand firm before what happens, but to walk with authority in the midst of it. Therefore, my beloved, do not seek confirmation from outward signs to know that you are on the right path. True confirmation is found in the peace I have placed within you. When you are positioned where I have appointed, you will sense an unexplainable steadiness, even when everything around you has not yet changed. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power. 1 Corinthians 4:20. And that power is at work within you through the peace I give. You may be surprised to discover that the deep stillness within you is stronger than any noise outside. It is not passivity, but the stability of one who knows where they belong and where they have been placed. I am not only calling you to step through the door, I am calling you to live within what you have entered. And when you live there, you will no longer be pulled back by what is old, nor pushed around by what is unclear. You will stand not in strain but in certainty. So, my beloved, keep your heart anchored in this sacred stillness. Do not allow other voices to interfere with what I am speaking. Do not rush to leave the place where I am positioning you, simply because you are not yet accustomed to its quietness. For it is precisely in that place, which seems silent, that I am establishing you. And when you stand firm in the peace I give, you will realize that you are no longer merely one who follows. You have become one who carries my presence, one who walks in authority, and one who lives in the reality I ordained from the beginning. My beloved child, you no longer walk as one who gropes through shadows, but as one being led into the depths of dominion, where every movement no longer arises from effort, but from positioning that has been granted. Continue to move forward, but do not walk as you once did. The way you see will no longer be confined to what your eyes perceive, for your vision is being lifted. The way you speak will no longer be light as passing wind, for your words will carry the weight of what I have placed within you, and your very presence, even without striving to prove itself, will become a mark that causes the environment around you to shift. For you are no longer standing outside the door, you are moving through it. And that transition is not imagination, but a reality unfolding before you. And as you step through, you will begin to recognize that nothing you have experienced has been fragmented or without meaning. From the days when you felt a stirring you could not explain to the moments when I refined you by removing what no longer fit to the spaces that left you feeling as though you had lost direction, and even the shakings that would not allow you to remain still. All of these have been preparations for this moment, the moment when you no longer merely hear about authority or position, but begin to live within it as a reality. As it is written, the Lord gives strength to his people, the Lord blesses his people with peace. Psalm 29:9-11. So what you are stepping into is not an empty title, but a life established upon the firm foundation of power and peace from me. Engrave this as an unshakable seal within your soul. You are not called to remain where you are. You are called to be lifted, not lifted in the way the world measures, but according to how I define it, a rising that begins within and extends into every aspect of your life. What I am writing over you in this hour cannot be erased by circumstance or by the words of man. It is inscribed in the deepest place within you, where no external shifting can reach. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:16. So your place within my purpose is not temporary, but secured by me myself. Let your mind open in a deep stillness, for what I am revealing is no longer a general teaching for many, but a revelation appointed specifically for you in this moment. I am showing you a vision that does not belong to this world, a throne formed of light, not displayed before the eyes of men, but kept in the hidden place where only those who have been prepared may enter. That throne is not a symbol of outward glory, but a sign of the calling I am entrusting to you. And now, my beloved, the door that leads into that place is being opened before you. Do not think that you have arrived here because you are perfect. No, you have come because you have been faithful. Faithful in the small things no one saw, faithful without praise, faithful when you did not know what the outcome would be. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. So that quiet faithfulness has become the foundation for the greater thing I now place before you. You are not stepping in because you are worthy by your own measure, but because you responded to me when no one else was watching. Remember Esther, who was brought into the king's court, not to stand in authority immediately, but through a hidden process of preparation. When the appointed time came, she was no longer one who stood outside observing, but one who stepped into position to change the destiny of an entire people. Esther 44:16. In the same way, you have been prepared in hidden places, and now you are being called to step forward, not to seek a position, but to receive the one that has already been set apart for you. Therefore, my beloved, enter with reverent awe, yet without fear. Do not look back at what has passed, as though you must return to it. Do not doubt what is opening before you simply because it exceeds your understanding. You are no longer at the threshold of awareness. You are stepping into the reality of what I have ordained. From this point forward, each step you take will no longer be an experiment, but an expression of the authority, peace and glory I placed within you long before you realized you were called. Continue forward, my child. There is no need to rush yet. Do not stand still, for where I am leading you is not merely a place, but a state of being where you no longer search for who you are, but live fully in what I have defined you to be. And when you stand in that place, you will know that everything that came before was not merely a journey, but a perfect preparation for the moment you are stepping into now. My beloved child, now that I have opened your eyes to a new horizon, you must learn to stand firm within that vision, unshaken, and not returning to the former ways of seeing that once limited you. From this point forward, you will begin to notice what you once passed by without awareness. Small details carrying meaning, alignments you once called coincidence, but are in truth signs. Subtle movements within daily life that you could not previously discern. None of these are accidental. They are the map I am placing into your hands, not written in ink upon paper, but awakened through the sensitivity I am forming within your soul, as it is written. Blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. Matthew 13:16. So what you are entering is not merely a path, but a level of awareness where the unseen becomes clear, where you no longer walk in obscurity, but an illumination from within. Yet with this vision, you must also learn something more essential. Do not allow yourself to be led by emotion, but be guided by my signal. Emotions may rise and fall with circumstances, leading you to believe you are right or wrong, based only on what you feel in the moment. But my signal is different. It is not loud, not hurried, yet it is precise and consistent. It comes as a gentle but steady urging, as a deep confirmation you cannot deny, as a peace you cannot explain by reason. And when you learn to recognize and follow that signal, you will no longer lag behind the rhythm of heaven, nor be pulled off course by surrounding shifts. Your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way. Walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. So you do not need to guess your path, for you are being guided step by step. Remember the account of Philip, when I sent him to a deserted road, where he did not know in advance what awaited him. He was not given a detailed plan, nor a full explanation. Yet he obeyed the prompting of the Spirit, and in that place which seemed empty, he encountered the Ethiopian official who was seeking truth, and through that meeting a doorway was opened for an entire region. Acts 8:26-9. Do you see? My guidance does not always align with human reasoning, but it is always precise according to my purpose. When you learn to follow my signal rather than your emotions, you will find yourself in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, even when you do not understand it from the beginning. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you, is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. Therefore, my beloved, do not let these things become a burden upon your shoulders. I do not place them upon you to make you feel pressured to be perfect, but to lead you into precision in your walk. I am not calling you into perfection by human standards, but into alignment with me. When you are aligned, you will not need to strive excessively to control everything, for each of your steps will be guided naturally, like water flowing in the direction already set. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. Romans 8:9-14. So the evidence that you belong to me is not that you never falter, but that you know how to return and follow my voice. Now, my beloved child, step into the room. I have opened the room where the throne of light awaits you. Do not enter with fear, and do not pause in hesitation. Enter with the awareness that you have been prepared piece by piece through every path you have walked. No trial has been meaningless, no refining has been wasted, no shaking has been without purpose. All of it has been leading you here. And when you take your place in what I have set before you, you will understand that you are no longer merely one who hears about authority. You are one who lives within it. You will no longer seek light from the outside, for the light I have placed within you will begin to shine through your very life. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. And that light is not meant to be hidden, but to be revealed. Walk forward, my child, not pulled by emotion, not hindered by doubt, but led by the clear signal from me. And as you continue in that alignment, you will come to see that you are no longer merely following a path. You have become part of the path I am writing through your life. My beloved, what I am initiating within you is not a patchwork upon what is old, but the awakening of something prepared long before you became aware of it. Therefore, do not try to force the process according to fleeting emotions or your preferred order, for my rhythm does not shift with human desire, but moves according to eternal design. There are things you perceive as delayed, yet they are perfectly timed. And when that time ripens, everything will unfold in fullness. As it is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. So what is coming to you is not a random occurrence, but the fulfillment of what I established long ago. And in that deep stillness, I place before you an image, a new pair of sandals, unlike those you have worn before. No longer the shoes of prolonged struggle in the mud of the past, but the sandals of one who carries good news, light yet steady, as it is written, How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Isaiah 52:7. These sandals are not merely a symbol, but a transformation in the way you walk. When you wear them, you will no longer move with the weight of what has been, but with the lightness of one who knows they are sent by me. Understand this clearly within your heart. When I change the way you walk, I am also transforming the pace the weight, and the depth of your journey, you will find yourself moving faster, not because you are rushing, but because what once held you back no longer has authority. Invisible ties have been loosened, and you are no longer delayed by what does not belong to you. At the same time, you will walk more lightly, not because challenges have disappeared, but because you are no longer carrying misplaced burdens. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. And as you do, your steps will no longer feel heavy as before. And then you will walk more deeply, not because you strive to go farther, but because I am leading you into places already prepared, where each step carries meaning, beyond what you can yet comprehend. Remember Joshua, who did not enter the promised land as one exploring at random, but as one receiving what had already been given. I spoke to him, saying, "Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given you." Joshua 103. Do you see? Possession does not begin when you see it, but when you step into it in trust. In the same way, the territories you once thought distant, beyond your reach, will now become places entrusted to you, not because you attain them by your own strength, but because I have opened them at the appointed time. Therefore, my beloved, do not view the journey ahead as something to conquer by effort, but as something to receive through obedience. I do not send you as one wandering, but as one appointed. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 9. So your steadiness does not come from your ability, but from my presence walking with you in every step. And as you walk with these new sandals, you will realize that you are no longer moving in search of position, but moving from a position already given. You will no longer strive to prove where you belong, because you are already standing where I have placed you. Every step you take will no longer be an experiment, but an expression of the peace, the authority, and the light I have placed within you. So, my beloved, take what I have given you and walk. Do not return to the old way of stepping, and do not take up again the burdens that have already been removed. Let each step reflect the renewal I have worked within you. And as you continue forward, you will come to understand that you are not merely advancing. You are stepping into what has always belonged to you, within my eternal purpose. My beloved child, what I am placing within you is not the fragile peace you once knew, nor a temporary calm that can be torn apart by circumstances, but a peace with substance, a hidden foundation that causes all unrest to retreat when you are present. This peace is not given merely to soothe your emotions for a moment, but to establish you as one who stands firm amid every shifting. When you speak from that place, your words will not fall into emptiness, but will carry the weight of confirmation. When you enter a place, you will not need to create influence through effort, for what you carry will make itself known as it is written. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power, 1 Corinthians 4:20. And that power is not first expressed outwardly with noise, but settled firmly within you as an unending source. Therefore, my child, understand this truth deeply. If you are elevated without peace, pressure will weigh you down. But if you are elevated within peace, you will become a carrier of influence. I do not bring you into a new position when your foundation is unstable. For I do not desire that you stand for a moment only to fall. I am establishing within you a foundation upon which everything I entrust to you will remain secure. when this invisible mantle rests upon your shoulders. The anxieties that once clung to you will not require you to fight them away. They will fall off on their own like things that no longer hold authority. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. And that surrender will no longer be a momentary act, but a rhythm of life, a state in which you walk each day. Look at the image of my Son, Jesus Christ. When he was in the boat amid the storm, the waves did not cease because circumstances changed on their own, but because authority was released. Yet, notice something deeper. Before he rose to speak, he was already at rest. The stillness within him was not disturbed by what was happening outside. And from that place of inner quiet, his word carried the power to calm the sea. As it is written, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Mark 4:39. Do you see? Peace is not the result after everything becomes stable. Peace is the cause that brings stability. I am bringing you into that very kind of peace. A peace that does not depend on whether everything has settled, but exists even while everything is still in motion. And when you stand in it, you will no longer react under pressure, but act from authority. You will no longer be pulled by what happens around you, but will become an anchor that causes what surrounds you to align. The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. And that guarding is not only protection from chaos, but the establishment of you as one who can stand firm within it. My child, do not seek a pleasant feeling as confirmation that you are in the right place. Emotions may rise and fall, but the peace I give does not waver. When you walk rightly in me, you will sense an unexplainable steadiness, even when circumstances remain unchanged. And that steadiness will become a voice more powerful than any words you could speak. For when you live in this peace, you do not strive to create influence. You become it. So allow me to complete this work within you. Do not return to old patterns when pressure rises, and do not doubt when you no longer react as you once did. This is not weakness. It is establishment. You are no longer living from instability, but from foundation. And from that foundation, everything I place into your hands will not weigh you down, but will expand you. Walk forward, my beloved, in this weighty peace. Speak from it, act from it, and carry it into every place you enter. And you will see that wherever you go, what was once chaotic will begin to align, not because you strive to fix it, but because my peace within you has been given full expression. My beloved child, engrave this within your heart as an unshakable seal. This is not the conclusion of a teaching, but the ignition of a new life unfolding before you. From this moment, you no longer stand outside learning about authority. You begin to live within it. You no longer only hear of dominion. You walk in it as a reality. What I have written over you from the beginning is no longer revealed in fragments, but now flows like a continuous river, carrying life, power, and glory into every part of your being. As it is written, the river of the water of life flowing from the throne of God. Revelation 22:1. And that flow is no longer distant, but has begun to move within you. But my child, remain watchful and clear-minded in what I am revealing. For many have misunderstood the dominion I give. Some have turned it into a tool to stand above others, while others shrink back in fear, unwilling to touch what I have entrusted. But I tell you this, dominion is not control, nor is it a status for comparison. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. The dominion I place within you is the capacity to rise above what once pulled you down. Fears that silenced you, accusations that caused you to doubt your worth, and invisible chains that once restrained you along the way. He brought me out into a spacious place because he delighted in me. Psalm 18:19. And that release is not only to free you from the old, but to establish you firmly in the new. Understand this deeply. I do not lift you up so that you may rule over others, but so that you are no longer ruled by what does not come from me. When you walk in true dominion, you will not need to prove, to force, or to control. Your presence will carry its own steadiness, and the place where you stand will begin to shift, not because you impose, but because you are no longer shaken. To the one who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, Revelation 3:21, and that overcoming is not conquest outwardly, but victory within. Remember David when he faced Goliath. He did not step forward as one trying to prove himself stronger, but as one who knew to whom he belonged. He did not wear another man's armor, nor rely on the tools of the world, but moved in the awareness of me, and that awareness became the authority that brought down what was greater than he appeared to be. Do you see? Dominion does not come from what you put on outwardly, but from what I have placed within. Therefore, my beloved, walk in this understanding with a heart that is humble yet steady. Do not let fear cause you to withdraw, and do not let misunderstanding lead you astray. True dominion always walks with gentleness, is bound to integrity, and is guided by love. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Matthew 20:26. So growth in me is never separated from humility, and authority is never separated from compassion. Now, as you step into this new life, you will begin to notice that what once bound you no longer carries the same voice. The thoughts that once made you hesitate will gradually lose their power. The emotions that once pulled you down will no longer govern you as they did before. Not because they vanish completely, but because you have been lifted above them. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. And that freedom is not a temporary condition, but a position in which you stand. So, my beloved, keep your heart anchored in this awareness. Do not return to what I have already freed you from. Do not allow old voices to cause you to forget your new position. Walk with the understanding that you are no longer one carried by circumstances, but one who stands firm in me. And from that place, you will see your life no longer as scattered fragments, but as a continuous flow, a current that reflects me through every step you take, every word you speak, and every place you enter. My beloved child, from this moment forward, you are no longer merely one who stands beneath the light to be guided. You are one who carries within you that very source of light. What I have sown into you is no longer only for your personal journey, but has become a flowing current that reaches those around you in ways you do not need to manufacture. When you enter a place, the atmosphere will shift. Not because you strive to influence, but because the light within you reveals itself naturally. The weary will feel lifted in your presence, not because you hold every answer, but because my presence within you becomes the answer they cannot yet articulate. The uncertain will find direction, not because you guide by your own reasoning, but because the light you carry comes from the leading of heaven. Understand this deeply. You are not called to create light, but to carry the light that never fades. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light, Isaiah 9:2, and you are being placed within that very light, not as an observer, but as a participant. That light does not depend on circumstances, nor does it diminish when the environment grows darker. Rather, it is revealed more clearly in the midst of darkness. When you remain connected to me, that source will never run dry. For it does not originate from you, but flows through you from me. Therefore, my beloved, do not strive to become something by your own strength, and do not carry the burden of proving your worth. Light does not struggle to shine, it simply exists. In the same way, when you abide in me, you do not need to strain to have influence. You are the influence. You are the light of the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Matthew 5:5 and 14:15. So do not hide what I have placed within you, and do not doubt its value simply because you do not yet see immediate results. Remember Elisha when he passed through lands of dryness and among people in need. He did not carry resources of his own, but he carried my presence, and wherever he went, water was healed, provision was multiplied, and life was restored to kings. 4. Do you see the power of change did not come from his ability, but from what he carried in the same way? You do not need to have everything. You only need to carry me, and I will accomplish the rest. From this point, you will begin to notice changes not only within yourself, but in those you encounter and in the places you pass through. You may not always recognize it immediately, but light is never without effect. It reaches into hidden places you cannot see, planting seeds that I will cause to grow in their appointed time. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1 and 5. So do not be concerned about the darkness. Simply continue walking in the light. So, my beloved, keep your heart anchored to the source. Do not let weariness, doubt, or circumstance cause you to forget what you carry. You are no longer one searching for light. You are one who carries it. And as you live in that awareness, your life will no longer be merely a personal journey, but a stream of life itself flowing outward, releasing peace, hope, and my guidance wherever your feet may go.